Greetings and welcome to another excellent World of Tanks video. As you can see here, this is the Cold War Bradley. It's a really interesting rocket tank. It's both light tank and not light tank. It's kind of bizarre. And the thing that makes it bizarre is that it plays differently than normal light tanks. So it's a light tank it's kind of a hodgepodge. And it plays differently in a way that is great for some people, mediocre for others, and for hopefully not you anyway, not very good in a different way. I hope you guys will enjoy this video, and if you do, it would help me if you could please leave a like for this video to help spread the word. This is more of an observation and analysis video than action. This is not a game action type video, because we're going to discuss some stuff that you have to look at. Because one of the things about the Bradley, it is at the end, and I mean the dead end of the line. And if you look at this video first before you commit yourself, you may or may not decide to change your mind. So let's take a look. Okay, the Bradley starts here with the M46A1. Now, next Tuesday, we're going to have a new season, and we're also going to have a change in the Cold War silver structure. I don't exactly know for sure how that's going to affect you, but we're going to look at the Bradley line to give you a deeper view a little bit, to see what's available, what you have to do to get it, etc., etc. Okay, so it starts here with the M46A1, which is a free tank, and all the starter tanks are free, and that means in the Green Nation you have the M50 Sherman, in the Reds you have the T44, the 63I. I feel like I'm forgetting something. In the Blues, you have the 46A1, the Centurion 2, the Charioteer, the Scharf 25, and the obviously the 46A1. That's all of them. Yep. Okay, cool. Now, let's go look. Here, it goes to the M24, then it goes to the Bulldog. Then you have a choice, T92 or M113. I hated the T92. It was so horrible. And the game results I've seen in the M113, if I could go back and know what I know now, I'd have chosen the 113 for the sniper effect. But live and learn. Okay, after that, we get the first rocket tank in this American line, and that is the Sheridan. We'll cover the Sheridan briefly, just because it's a rocket tank and we're talking about Bradley rockets. So the Sheridan is a dual launcher tank. It shoots regular bullets, cannon shells, and rockets. You choose A or B. If you want to use the quick swap equipment, you can have it instantly choose A or B. I'm not that big of a deal with the cannon in general with the Sheridan. It's all right, I guess, but my problem with the Sheridan is that it's a 13-second reload. So when I play the Sheridan, I like to use the Sheridan, primarily as some kind of a rocket sniper, and I want to use all my rockets before I go in, because the armor of the Sheridan is kind of not really that great. You're not going to take a beating in the Sheridan for very long. So that's one of the weaknesses of it. But you do get a bunch of rockets. So it's useful. The main thing is this is a free rocket tank. It just costs you silver and the time it takes for you to get it. That's the main difference between this and, say, the Weasel, which is, from the same nations. So that's really, this is a non-premium. And that's what I'm looking at here is non-premium rocket tanks. Because if you're a player that doesn't want to spend 14,000 for a Stormer or 10,000 gold plus for a Weasel, your options, and if you like the Blue Nation, your option is Sheridan and then Bradley. And they're good enough to play, but it just depends on your style of play and your skills whether this works for you. So after the Sheridan, we go light tank. It's really a lightweight medium tank. So it's a lightly armored medium tank is how I would categorize the Stingray and Stingray 2. Both very good. Myself, I am not a medium tank aficionado. So I'm like, I couldn't care less. I have plenty of medium tanks that, are more my style, like the Centurion 2. The M50 Sherman is a fantastic tank. That's my style of medium tank. So Stingrays were good. I'm never going to play an Era 2 Stingray and an Era 3 Stingray. I'd play an Era 2 something else always and an Era 3 something else always. That's just the way it is. So it's nothing against them. I thought they were really good tanks. I just have tanks I like more. Everybody's different. Then we get to the end of the line. And the end of the line is the Bradley. Now, I was at the end of the line. I figured, you know what? Let me pick up this M8 AGS. I'll work on it at some time in the future because it's a light tank and I'm a light tank specialist. So that's fine. I still haven't touched it, though. But this is where the Bradley resides. You get your starter tank and you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It takes a while. And it's going to cost you some time to get through 7 tanks. And they all play different, and that's what makes them difficult, is that you're going to be better. There's, you have the Sheridan and where you have the pure light tanks, where you have a pure medium tank M46A1, a couple of light tanks, a choice between a really bad T92 light tank or a sniper tank. You have the Sheridan rocket tank. You have the Stingrays, which are the same kind of, medium with light armor. Well, light compared to the guns that are shooting at it. That's probably the best way to put it. And then you have another kind of hybrid light tank in the Bradley. So this is what you're looking at. It's kind of a long line. And a lot of people aren't going to be interested in this once they find out all these different types of tanks they're going to have to play. Some you're going to like, some you're not going to like. Whatever. The ones you don't like, you're going to have to suffer through. And I wanted to give you the heads up on that. Now, here's one of the things that I haven't had anyone mention. In my opinion, if you're going to play rocket tanks, realistically, I think the Stormer and the Weasel are better than the Bradley and the Sheridan for me. That may not be the same for you. It's going to be very dependent on how you play it. The Bradley for me, it's good and I can score okay, but it's not my style, in particular. So I have a harder time scoring in the Bradley than I do in the Weasel or than I do in the Stormer. So that's the thing. And the only way you really know is by, figuring out what it is you like to play. Because the Weasel is a light tank, super light with speed. And rockets, of course. The Stormer is more like the Bradley, but I think the Stormer drives better than the Bradley. And it has the chain gun, which appeals to me. Like It's not as good as the chain gun on like the MBT-70 or the BMP-2. It's similar to the BMP-3 chain gun, which is kind of okay, but it does decent damage over time, but it just doesn't feel, it feels like it's missing oomph power. The Stormer chain gun, I like it better than the Bradley. But again, this is a chocolate or vanilla or strawberry, whichever flavor you like, that's going to be the one to get. You have to figure out if this Bradley is a chocolate, a vanilla, or a strawberry. Okay? So let's go back and look at this Bradley. Here we are. Now I took the Commander out for a good reason, and I'm going to show you why. Right now we're going to go look at the equipment. So in the equipment here, the way I get the most out of the Bradley is by playing it as more of a sniper first. And that is, I use the double zooms, the triple zoom and the enhanced targeting. This means I can look through bushes with X-ray vision like Superman. And, it costs you an equipment slot, but okay, well, whatever. So I have on this guy, as you see, camo net and the powertrain. The powertrain is for the horsepower, because the horsepower of the Bradley is kind of lame. So you can build it more for speed. If you want to add the speed, you're going to take stuff off. Now, if you're able to run this with the more speed, the problem is the speed max on this is like 83. That's fine. Some people can do that, some people can't. I hadn't had success with that. It's too fat and too easy to hit. So I don't like to be exposed in this thing. It's a fatty. And that's the thing, it makes it difficult. So it's up to you, and it's all about your play style and matching your equipment and your consumables to your play style. So in my play style, much better as a rocket sniper for me. And then if guys roll up, or if I'm having, once I have to move in to engage guys, I will drill them with a rocket and then switch to the chain gun and, drill them again. Hopefully I die, I survive, they die first. That's the plan, but that doesn't always work because the chain gun is kind of It's okay, it's just not great, but it's solid. And if you can adapt yourself to this tank, it's quite good. But it's very much personal play style and personal preference. So let's look at this guy here. On our stats, now this one's fully upgraded. It's got the upgraded chain gun, upgraded rockets, upgraded turret, all the way. Elite. Okay, this has got everything. And, it's okay. One of the things you have to watch in the Bradley is the accuracy during rotation. As you add speed, you see the accuracy during rotation, bottom left-hand corner. It says 1.35. Now watch what happens here. When we remove the gasoline, that rotation accuracy drops to 1.12, and a smaller number is better. You want to have the smaller number. The smaller number means it's a deviation. So we want to reduce the off-centerness of your shooting on the in rotation. Now I'm gonna replace that gasoline with enhanced rations and see what we get here. Again, 112, that's where we are. All right, no problem. So that's something to consider. Me personal, I found it totally fine. Koretsky. Oh well. Okie dokie. Alright, now I've changed my consumables. My commander is not in here. So without the commander, what's my accuracy? Upgraded .30 accuracy. Great. .25 accuracy. That means my commander in this tank does not require a steady aim skill. So that's one you don't have to put in to this commander. Now the commander I use for this tank is a 9 skill commander for good reason. I don't want to assign a commander. We'll look at my commanders here. There we go. Now, there she is, Miss Bradley. Man, I had to name these commanders, some of them, so that I would not get them confused. So I called her Miss Bradley, so that way I know that that's my Bradley commander. So let's take a look at those skills. Skills we have. Now, snapshot, plus 12% to the accuracy during turret rotation. This is how it got down to 112, or with gasoline, it's up to like 1.69. Deadeye. Chain guns profit from this skill. So, every time you're doing it, it's doom, 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 doom. Every time it hits, it's got a chance to catch him on fire. So, super effective every once in a while. All right? Run and gun. Plus 10% increase the accuracy during driving. It goes fast enough to where the driving is a little erratic, so you need that. It will help you. Born leader, this is for your stats. For your crew performance, actually. So the born leader, the fan for the crew, and the rations, all three of those do exactly the same thing, and you can stack them. So right now, after we change the configuration of the consumables, we have 2 of the 3. I don't have the fan on this tank's equipment. You can do that, but what it does is it changes your camouflage rating. And that's the thing. This is another. If you don't do sniping with rockets, then your camouflage rating is really not a big deal. You're going to run around and be a roaming agitator or defensive guy, whatever it is you're going to do. So it's your style makes a difference. I want high camo, detection numbers, so that it takes, not high. I want the numbers not to be high. I want them to be as low as possible. But this tank has a limited concealability. So here, armor angling, the only, armor you could put on non-heavy or non-medium tanks, minus 5% damage. Sixth sense to detect people detecting me while I'm trying to rocket snipe, to let me know if I'm being spotted, and if I'm not, I'm going to stay there and rocket snipe, and just keep the tunnel vision pretty much on the target. Camouflage expertise for maximum concealment. Duh. Pretty obvious stuff. Rapid loading. Faster reloads equals more damage per minute. Pretty obvious. Controlled impact, because you get rammed when people get in on you. It's a light tank in name only. It does not have good acceleration. So you don't have the ability to, zip out of the way like you would in certain other tanks. It has a slower acceleration, which is really annoying. Again, now this is another 50-50 personal style. If you can evade guys better by your natural play style, you don't need this on your commander. You can put something else on there. So, again, this is not, the one and only. This is one possibility out of many. Most of the things you can trade off. And in this tank is a lot of trade-offs for style. You could trade off the armor angling if you wanted to. You could trade off the controlled impact. If you're not a big pursuit guy, you could trade off the run and gun, perhaps. It's just all personal. These are the ones that work kind of the best for me so far. I haven't found any other combination that's even remotely interesting. for me. For you, it's going to be different. But this process of looking at all these things and what do they do is valuable, because this concept applies to other tanks. It applies to every other rocket tank that I have, and I have specific commanders for other rocket tanks. So just keeping that in mind. So it consumes multiple like 4 or 5 commanders that I have. They're all rocket commanders exclusively. It might be 6 actually. I don't know. I didn't count them. So again, this is a YouTube kind of situation. Your situation is going to be slightly different. So I'm just warning you. You don't have to do all these things. You do whatever you feel like doing. That's the beauty of the system. I'm just giving you ideas and the recommendations for what I have experienced, but your play style and understanding your play style is paramount. If you do that and can match your commander with your play style, with your tank and equipment, etc., that's when you're going to kick butt. All right, so that's just the thing I wanted to let you see. Okay, so now let's go back here. What we need to look at, we need to look at crew stuff, like our vision. Our vision is almost 600. Our camouflage at this moment, we took off the gold smoke. The gold smoke gives you more camouflage than the white. I never use white because why would I want to use white? You're going to get less. Now it costs more to use it on a tech tree tank like this eventually. So let's get Miss Bradley over here. There she is with the helmet. We're going to shove her in here. Okay. So now you're going to watch this camouflage, etc., go down. Now we had 589 vision. Now it's up to 613. It's pretty wicked. Still concealment there is 239. Let's look at this. Let's take this one off, go back out, come back in. Now you see that drops the born leader is what moved our 589 up to 613, but since I took off enhanced rations, it goes right back down the same amount. This is one of the things that shows to you that born leader is the same as enhanced rations. If you didn't know that and hadn't seen it before, you've now seen that this is the case. Okay, but what I wanted to do here is get all these values established here. Let's take a look at this. Accuracy during rotation, 1.17. Now let's put this rations in here and see what we get. That went down to 1.16. All right, that was just curious. Now you'll also see every time you put in the rations, it forces the system. It has an automatic recalibration to calculate all that stuff. And now my steel concealment, has dropped down to 240. Hey, wait a second. There we go. 239 is where my steel concealment is right now. My vision 613. So we can do several things. Let's look at turret rotation. Turret rotation is a wicked 71.68 degrees. That is a wicked fast turret rotation. Very helpful defensively. This comes from the gasoline special effect. Okay, so that's gasoline special effect. Now, the thing is, as we change consumables, the numbers are going to change depending. If we take off the gasoline, it's going to drop our speed down. It's also going to cause our accuracy during rotation number to drop. So let's do that just for the heck of it. Now let's go and put the smoke launcher back in here. It's also going to make our camouflage drop. In fact, I'll show you. Let's go do white. This is a weaker drop. That dropped it down to 220. Now, well, let's look at that. Actually, during rotation is now 0.96. This is where the speed that you add with the gasoline also jacks up your inaccuracy of your chain gun. That's really what you're looking for. This is chain gun accuracy, really. So here, if we take this white camouflage, smoke bomb, replace it with a gold, we're going to get a change in my steel concealment. You'll see that now it's dropped to 201. Again, it doesn't affect actually during rotation. And the turret rotation decreased when we got rid of the gasoline because the gasoline gives a 10% turret rotation bonus. Still, it has a very fast 65. So these are things you have to know about the Bradley. And so you have to jack with these different things to feel, and then play a game and go, I like this part, I didn't like this part. Or play games and go, I'd like to have more turret rotation. Well, you saw how to do that with the gasoline. You might want more camouflage so you can get rid of the gasoline. Now, the enhanced rations don't really affect the camouflage very much. They affect it, I think, like 1 point. It doesn't do a lot. Again, remember our accuracy of our gun was 30, but we added enhanced rations, and that dropped it to 29. And our missile launcher is 24, it was 25. So we could get rid of this if we wanted to. And what's going to happen is you're going to go back and see steel concealment has gone up 2 points to 203, right, which is okay. Max speed is 72 at this point. It just all depends what you're looking to have. Actually, during rotation, went up 1 point from 0.96 to 0.97. So these are things that happen. The accuracy on the gun, 30. On the rockets is 25. That's how it was before. So these are the things that happen during these things that you're jacking with all these numbers. It's a juggling. You need to juggle the accuracy. You need to juggle the steel concealment and the turret rotation. And find the combination for you that best, whatever the best describes your ability to play the game. Having your equipment, consumables, and commander match this as best as possible will give you better performance. So it's one of those things that's really bizarre. Brownie was having difficulty with his rocket tanks, and I went through this stuff with him, and that's when I stopped being better at rockets than him. Once he found out that his commanders were incorrectly configured for him, and I showed him all this kind of stuff, he put the pieces together, fixed it, and started annihilating people like nobody's business. So I helped him unleash his inner beast, like a coach does for a star player. All right? Coach tells you a little bit of stuff here that he sees X, Y, Z, whatever, and then player implements whatever he needs to implement, and bingo, he goes berserk. And that's what happened to Brownie. He's a freak now. He's way better at rocket tanks than me. I know a lot of stuff, but he's reflexively good, and I'm somewhat reflexively good on certain tanks. I'm getting better all the time, but he's much younger and more fundamentally grounded because of his age. So the adjustments he makes are happening faster and more efficient with this game because of his youth. He has less things that get in the way of his changes. I have more experience in life that gets in the way of these changes. So I do get better, and I've been getting better in rocket tanks like a maniac for someone, that's over 60 years old. Most people will go, "Oh my God, dude, you did really great." Well, yeah, but Brownie and Hayden, they're 12-year-old freaks. Okay, so they make me look like a chump by comparison due to their extreme youth. So you got to go with what you have, whatever that may be. So, here we can go either way. Personally, for myself, this works for me. I go with the combo here. The 203 works really well. You can get more camo. 201 I think is the minimum you can get, period. I've maxed it out. Now, there's another thing you could have on the commander. Let's look at this. One of the things you could also, like I said, it's a personal preference on certain items here. Every time you take an item off of this commander, you can put something else on there. One of the things you can add is muffled shot. Keeps you from being spotted as easily. Okay, so muffled shot is a good one. Let's see. Let's take a look at what else there's possibly to put on there. If you needed it, I mean, like right now, my turret is like 71 degrees of rotation. I don't think you need enhanced turret rotation unless you're a freak. I don't know. Another 10% would be like, 78 or 79%, 79 degrees per second. You do not need steady aim. The numbers are already 30 for your chain gun and 25 for your rockets. It's awesome aim. But I consider .30 sniper quality in this game just to help. So there's things. Silent driving doesn't work for light tanks, and it's a light tank. I don't put the driving stuff on there, but hey, this is remember, I've got mine, you have yours. Put the things on there that you like, that help you historically. I'm not telling you what to put on there, I'm just telling you ideas to consider, to unleash your inner beast, like those two freaks that I play with. Man, they're good. Binoculars increases your vision 6%. Mine, what is it now? On this one's like 589. Yeah, it's 589 without the rations, 613 with rations. So, whatever floats thy boat, as they say. Okay, so we can go look at this again. This is considered to be put on there. This really isn't necessary, the green thumb, because your concealment is already low with the camouflage expertise and the camo net. And in the desert, this is worthless. So again, it's just up to you. I'm just telling you stuff. One of the good things and bad things about this weak armor that it has, you don't last long enough to worry about fires or crew members getting whacked. If you've got a crew member whacked, you're going to die whether you repair that crew member or not. It don't matter. That's the thing. That's one of the realities. The armor is terrible in this tank. You do not survive more than a few seconds. So basically your armor is your last resort. You're in a one versus one, regardless if people are shooting at you or whatever. When you're being shot at, you need to kill the guy that's shooting you. If you get that done, you're fine. Fine-ish, whatever. You're not a heavy tank. You're not going to take a beating and continue. When you take that beating, if you still live, I'd go be a sniper again, because you don't want to see another one. You can't take 2 beatings up close, head to head, and survive. Your armor is not good enough. So, that's why on this guy I don't put the fire prevention or the pain tolerance, because your tank cannot take the beating. You're just going to flat out die. This is era 3, and that's the problem. You're going up against the most vicious guns in the game with garbage armor. I mean, let's just be honest. So these are kind of the good things to consider. You know, like I said, the muffled shot. It just helps your shooting camouflage. So it's one of those things, the more your experience is going to make a difference. But you need to know up front things that you don't need, like the rapid aim and the steady aim in this tank, as a general rule. And again, if you want to, you know, improve crew performances, you can jack with this equipment. The thing, you know, like the camo net, the engine, it's like, dude, I mean, with this engine and the gasoline, your horsepower acceleration is decent. It's not great. You know, you want to get out of there, you hit the button, engage the gasoline, which is a horsepower boost, with the horsepower boost of the powertrain, and you have decent acceleration. This dude, you know, is just heavy. I mean, it shows you the, what is it, horsepower to weight ratio, you know, 23. It's not good. It's not really good. It doesn't have vicious speed at all. It goes, like right now I got it set for 76, which is decent, but it's fat. I mean, look at this just chubby jerk. You know, you're trying to shoot this, you're like, oh man. There is a lot of tanks shorter than this, like especially the 72s. T-72s are way shorter than this guy. Okay? I mean, behind that tank, you see a Tier 2 Panzerjäger 1. Look at how short that freak is compared to this guy. So, I mean, it's a good tank and everything, but it has some weaknesses and some strength, and you've got to be able to handle those. Otherwise, you're going to be disappointed. Now, again, I went through it, YouTube, etc., and it's like, it's an okay tank. But it, you know, I score much better in either the Stormer or the Weasel. Now, like an idiot, I still play this sometimes because I'm hoping to learn, you know, and get the experience to the point. If you play enough games, you're going to just absorb this information through sheer volume, okay? And I've had some of that, and I've had, you know, I'm on an increase in scoring, but it's a slow, you know, it's a slow climb. You know, the kids, those monsters, man, their increase was just ridiculous once they got, you know, coaching. Once my star players got coaching, oh my God, their performances went berserk. You know, they have the it factor that I don't have. Okay, now I have an it factor in artillery that they don't have, because it's a completely different type of thing, and the type of gameplay in artillery is highly affected by experience. Those guys are great players, and they're very, very good artillery guys, but you know, they don't make reflex decisions like I do, because I have, well, I've been playing games of artillery since before they were born. So that's the deal. I have the reflexive ability in artillery that they do not have, but they've got it in the rockets that I don't have. So, you know, you're good at tomato and I'm good at tomato, or vice versa. It's not a competition. It's like, you know, you find this out by listening to other players or talking with other players who have these different skills. He's better at something, I'm better at something else. This other dude is better at something else than we are at some stuff. So it's a constant collaboration of your skills and my skills and this other guy's skills in a platoon. And we're all different. We're all very good, but we're good differently than the other guys, which is one of the things that makes us awesome, is we have different skills. And that's why we get, advice during matches. When there's one of us left, whoever's the guy left gets advice from the other two. And we all know that these guys are highly skilled. And if they says jump, we're like, how high and which direction? Because it's not a competition. We're out there trying to be a team and coordinate our efforts to the best of our abilities. So, like I said, I wanted to go through this hybrid Bradley because it's kind of unique. It's not for everybody, but it's something to do. But I don't want you to go and think, oh man, this Bradley is really fantastic. One of the guys that I've seen, who's terrific at rocket tanks is that guy Ricky Ticky. That dude is really awesome at rocket tanks. So if you want to go watch his videos and see what he's doing, I highly recommend it. But you have to understand, this guy is an apex performer in rocket tanks. He makes it look super easy, and you're like, dude, I can do this. Except that when you get in there, you can't do it. Because he's got the it factor. And if you don't have it, you ain't going to get it, just by watching. So it's one of those things, he's so good, he makes it look super easy. But when you watch it, you can go, he does make it look easy. But it is gettable. It's not like he's like doing some kind of special gymnastics or whatever. He uses the same tank that you use and uses the same bullets that you use. So it's one of those things that there's a lot of good from that. But the trap is that you need to look at it, and if that appeals to your style, the way he's doing it, you'll probably be a lot better at it than I am. Okay, that's the thing. I mean, that guy's really good, and I like the way he plays it. It's like, man, I can't run around like that. That thing stinks. It's too easy to spot. So it's one of those things, you got to find your groove. And the rocket tanks are groove tanks. You got to find the groove when you play the tank. That will help you. And if that groove that he gets into appeals to you, then it's probably a good sign. But just be aware that there's a groove. To be successful in any tank, you're going to have to get some part of that groove. And that's what I'm, referring to. So I don't want to push you after that. But I wanted to give you an idea. I have another video about BMP tanks, like several videos. And the other line of free rocket tanks are the BMPs, which are very good. Really, it's all about BMP 1 and 2. BMP 3 is okay. It's great on the rocket part, not so great on the gun part. It's just like, okay. It's very similar to the Bradley. But the advantage of the BMP, there's 5 total tanks in the line. This one had, 7? So it's a lot simpler because realistically, again, if you're playing without premiums, then the BMP-3 is an okay tank. It's not great. BMP-1 is great in some aspects. BMP-2 is great in other aspects. BMP-3 was not great, but it was solid. However, the Stormer is way better than the BMP-3 to me. Again, it's chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. Figure out what flavor you are and, deal with these accordingly. But again, BMP series, like the Bradley series, is tech tree, not premium. So it doesn't cost you any gold. But for my experience, you know, if you have played, for example, the 13 SS Era 2 rocket tank and like that, you know, that's a terrific premium rocket tank. So if you like that, or the Ignis, which has a rocket, or the WZ-122, which has a rocket, I like, you know, the Ignis, and I like the 13 SS better than the Bradley and better than the BMP3. Those, because these are Era 3s and they're just kind of underpowered to a degree. But again, it's tomato, you know, chocolate, vanilla, and strawberry. So you have a lot of options available. You know, analyze what your goal is, premiums or non-premiums. If you have the good premiums, these aren't, they don't cut it for me. I'm not saying for you, but I'm saying for me, these are chocolate and the premiums are like strawberry. Okay, they're different flavors. They behave differently. So that's the thing. So hopefully, you know, you guys will enjoy this, learn some valuable stuff from it, give you a new perspective on what to do with these rocket tanks. So it would help, again, if you could leave a like for this video, tell your friends, that way they can look at this, see what happens for them, and they have a chance to like and subscribe. So I'm out of here for this guy, because I've covered all the stuff and then some. I look forward to seeing you guys again very soon. Today, tomorrow, the next day, whatever. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great time. I'll see you soon.